I was once swallowed by the depths of witchcraft. I walked in thick spiritual darkness, serving forces that promised power but only enslaved me. They made me feel like I had control, yet the truth was terrifying. I was the one being controlled. Back then, identifying a witch was easy because I was one. Today, standing as someone God has rescued, I want to expose 5 spiritual marks that always reveal a witch. Listen carefully, because number 4 will leave you stunned. But before anything, hear me clearly. Witches do not look like the nonsense movies show you. They don't walk around in black cloaks, holding broomsticks, chanting in public. No. The most dangerous witches look completely normal. They are the ones you greet every day. The woman selling fruit on the roadside, the classmate you study with, the colleague who always smiles, even someone that prays loudly in church. When I was deep in the occult, I met a young woman named Sarah at a spiritual gathering in Nin City. If you saw her, you'd think she was gentle and harmless, soft-spoken, respectful, almost fragile. But spiritually, she had already sacrificed 2 of her own relatives to rise in rank. She was a master of hiding in plain sight. That's the horrifying truth. Witches camouflage themselves, and the only way to detect them is by recognizing their spiritual signatures. Trademark 1. Eyes that speak without speaking. When a witch looks at you, it is not an ordinary stare. Their eyes carry weight, influence, manipulation. In our coven, we were taught that the eyes are portals. Through a single look, you can plant fear, lust, confusion, or spiritual weakness into a person. This is why Proverbs warns, "Let her not capture you with her eyes." I once knew a lady named Miriam who owned a small shop in Anambra. Every man who interacted with her eventually abandoned something valuable: a wife, a business, a dream. Her eyes carried a magnetic force that enslaved people without them understanding what was happening. I used to envy her. She barely spoke, yet men ruined their lives over her. What they didn't know was that each glance from her was a spiritual hook, pulling them into invisible cages. In another school I visited, a girl used only her eyes to initiate classmates. She would stare at them silently in class, and later they would begin seeing her in their dreams. That is how powerful the eyes can be when an evil spirit controls them. Trademark 2. A double personality. Witches are masters of living 2 lives. In daylight, they appear kind, helpful, disciplined, even godly. But in the spirit, they are ruthless, manipulative, and destructive. I remember myself smiling at people during the day, and tormenting those same people in their dreams at night. That friendliness was just a mask. There was a man in Abuja named Chief Roland, a respected businessman. During the day, he was generous, sponsored students, donated in church, paid hospital bills. People loved him. But at night, he operated as a prince in the marine kingdom, draining the destinies of the very people he helped. He blessed you physically so he could chain you spiritually. That's why many people get confused when they hear a good person was involved in witchcraft. Witches play roles. They perform kindness to hide their true identity. Trademark 3. An unusual atmosphere around them. A witch does not need to say anything. Their presence alone changes the environment. Some carry a seductive magnetic pole. Some carry heaviness that suffocates a room. In my occult days, I was trained to project an aura, one that made people either adore me blindly or fear me for reasons they couldn't explain. There was a girl at Union BN named Adora. She wasn't the most beautiful, but lecturers adored her. Students followed her. Even women felt drawn to her. She carried a spiritual perfume, a supernatural attraction created through blood rituals. On the opposite end, I also met witches who carried an atmosphere of heaviness. Whenever they walked in, arguments started, peace vanished. People became frustrated or sad without knowing why. This is why the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. The presence of a witch shifts the spiritual temperature of a room. Trademark 4. Strange connection with animals. This one surprises many people. Witches often have unnatural bonds with certain animals. Cats, owls, dogs, snakes, goats. These aren't just pets. They act as spiritual vessels. During my time in the occult, I had a black cat, not an ordinary animal. It served as a spiritual partner during astral projection. Many witches use animals for blood sacrifices or as carriers for attacks. I recall an old woman in my village, Mama Zainab, who kept many goats. People thought she simply loved raising them. But at night, some of those goats were not goats. They were spirits she used for travel. Whenever she left her body, one goat would fall sick or die as an exchange. Another witch I encountered in Accra never traveled with her physical body. She projected through an owl that lived in a tree beside her house. That owl was her transportation. If anyone killed it, she would die instantly. Not every animal around a witch is just an animal. Trademark 5. Intense nighttime activities. The final mark is their relationship with the night. Witches are most active between 1200 a.m. and 300 a.m. That is their battlefield. their meeting hour, their operation time. I used to leave my body during these hours to attend meetings or carry out assignments. Job warns, do not long for the night when people are taken away. Once, I was sent to attack a pastor in Kaduna around 2 a.m. He was praying for revival. As I approached him in the spirit, I saw fire surrounding him. He didn't even know I was there, but his prayers were like burning arrows. I couldn't get close. I returned wounded. Another time in South Africa, we attempted to attack a group of students who were fasting for 7 days. We entered their hostel at 1 a.m. But their spiritual voices were so loud it felt like thunder. We couldn't penetrate. Some witches never returned from that assignment. I have now revealed the 5 signs that expose witches. This isn't to bring fear, but awareness. Don't walk blindly. Pray, stay sensitive, test every spirit, and remember, Jesus Christ has already defeated all powers of darkness. As Colossians 2:15 says, He disarmed them, made a public show of them, and triumphed over them through the cross. Walk in that victory. Darkness